Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om. At times we have again quite some wind here. I hope it's not also raining. But this time I'm a bit farther from the border, so it shouldn't rain immediately on top of us. There's water all around. It rained a lot. It's good for the land, it's good for the farmers, but right now it's rather too much water. So, shall we start? Is there anyone who would like to come in and talk about something? Please come in. Okay. Can I start to talk? Yesterday, one friend told me that he asked somebody, "Are you happy?" And it seems this kind of question is a bit sensitive here amongst seekers, amongst sadhaks, because they then feel you question their achievement, you question their spiritual progress. At least that person was rather unhappy about it and said, "What a stupid question. I have peace, I'm at peace." Well, maybe at that moment he was not so much at peace. But let's talk a bit about this. This is here in the wake of Ramana's teaching and Advaita. Often there is that idea that spirituality is rather, I don't know how they get it, but people think you rather are very serious in the sense that you are not showing much of joy. So people walk around with serious faces. Thinking that being happy is distracting. That the main thing is peace. And actually, it's true, but as long as we have to somehow bring peace about forcibly, then of course there is not much joy in it. Then as long as the control is there, there is peace, somewhat relative peace. And once the control is loosened up, whoop, it's gone again. And people don't talk much about happiness and joy, but of course, the traditional teaching is there, talking about bliss. But somehow there is a funny notion about that bliss, as if it is something totally otherworldly, mystic, that maybe sometime drops on us from somewhere. But actually what they are talking about when they talk about bliss, it's just that there is an inherent sense of joy in existence. It's always there. It's never absent. It's not something that we have to produce through practice. It's not something that we have to somehow or other create. It's just go again and unmute. Mute everybody. I hope you still can hear me. I've muted everybody again.
Are you recording, Werner?
Yes, I am recording. I think so. It should. It shows. Yes, yes, it does. It does record on the computer, but not on the cloud. In the cloud. There is an inherent joyousness in existence. And when they talk in the scriptures about bliss, about anandam, they're talking about that. And it's not something we have to imagine, something so totally different, so totally far away that maybe some time or other we can reach. But whenever somebody is happy, at least a little bit of that comes to the surface. When we feel joy, then it's a little bit of that inherent joy that comes to the surface. It's not something different from that. People think this is mundane, this is the wrong happiness, this is the wrong joy. It's not the wrong joy, it's not the wrong happiness. It's simply that we are ascribing wrong reasons for it. We think in order to be happy, we have to do this and this and this and this. And of course, then it's coming and going and never very steady. And there is always that one little aspect there nagging that is not quite as it should be most of the time. But when somebody is happy, when the circumstances are to their liking, then they are not resisting so much against the fact of what they are experiencing. And in that non-resistance, one relaxes. One is not tense about the past and future, but relaxes in the now. And in that relaxation, that natural joyousness comes to the surface and we experience it as happiness. But then somehow sadhaks often have that funny idea that happiness is something false. We should shun it. We should not be happy. We should wait for that other, for the bliss. But that joyousness of existence is not different from that happiness that everybody is experiencing when they are happy. Simply it can get manifolded. It can increase to levels one didn't have an idea that it is possible at all to experience that much joy simply by being. But it's not intrinsically different. It's not different. And from that joy, that joyousness, anybody can experience in a moment of joyousness. The mind is ascribing then usually that happiness to the circumstances, and there, that is the mistake. Not being happy, but that we think I need this and I need that and I need so many things in order to be happy. That is the mistake. But that happiness is that natural, bubbling joyousness that is there. And that is not different from that anandam, from the bliss they are talking about. So if one really starts to get rooted, connected with peace, and learns to relax in it, not to be peaceful, relatively peaceful and intention in order to hold that peace, but just learns to let go, relax in that peacefulness, then one becomes aware that peacefulness and the joyousness of existence, to feel happy, they come together, they belong together. And that peace is also there all the time. But when we are focusing so much on the mind and go round and round and round and worry about things, then we are not aware that actually that peacefulness we are experiencing again, that action, all the tension and whatever we are creating, we are experiencing against the background of the peacefulness that is always there. In order to become aware of it, all we have to do is to let go, to relax, to detach. Of course, old ingrained habits, they don't go away so easy. So it's very helpful to practice. It's very helpful to, through the practice, build up the energy, to have the courage, through the practice, become aware what we are doing all the time, what's happening all the time, how we are preventing that natural peacefulness, that natural joyousness that is simply there. But it's not that somehow feeling happy is detracting us from our spiritual path. It's simply when we focus on the circumstances, are attached to the circumstances where we feel happy, and then of course when they change, the happiness is gone and we feel unhappy. That attachment, that false identification where the happiness is coming from, that creates the problem, but not being happy. A sadhak has the full right to be happy, to be joyous. It's not something unspiritual. It's sometimes people hear that think you should be grave and be peace. It's natural to be joyous. It's natural to be peaceful, and the two, they come together. The more we can, just by letting go, experience that peacefulness that is there, the more we can relax and let go in that peacefulness, the more we become aware that peacefulness is filled to the brim with joyousness. Okay, I've talked again a lot. Is there anybody who would like to come in? Please come in.
Hello, Werner.
Okay, 2 persons, so one after the other. I see Udi, so let's start with Udi.
Yeah, I would just want to comment that there is, if you succeed to be in this peace environment and be quiet there is also the sense of harmony.
Mhm.
And it's something that is built up. This feeling of harmony, it's not seem to me something that you can create, but
Yeah.
it's bring up from this relaxation in this peaceful place.
Right.
And one of the place, yeah, sorry.
No, please continue.
And I would just want to add something to ask a question that about being boring. We are in period of time that nothing happened. We have the feeling that nothing is happening.
Right.
And this sense of quietness of process, even in our mind and our body, it's created, for at least for me, some inconvenient restlessness.
Yes.
There is any connection from those two things that we are speaking about?
Right. About the first aspect you mentioned, that in a peaceful environment, then we feel that peacefulness and we feel the harmony. Of course, a peaceful environment makes it easier than when we are in a restless environment. But that doesn't mean that peace that you are experiencing there is coming from that environment. Simply because we like it better, it's easier not to resist against whatever we are experiencing and enjoy maybe the beauty of nature, enjoy the harmony, relative harmony, and then open up the heart easier to that inner harmony that is there waiting to be experienced. But the stronger you get in that, the more you can do that no matter what the circumstances, even when it's restless around. And you become aware the peacefulness, the sense of fulfillment, the sense of harmony, the joyousness are coming out of yourself. You are the source of your happiness. But it's good if you have the possibility, at least from time to time, to go in a peaceful environment to help us to get more acquainted, to open up the heart more. But then you say sometimes one can feel bored. That's what you said, huh? That
Yes.
the boredom comes and the restlessness comes. It's out of the old habit of the mind that our happiness is dependent of exciting circumstances, that something should happen, something exciting in order to feel joy, in order to feel happiness. So instead of then at that moment simply feel those old thoughts that come, we have the tendency to hook in and miss that all we have to do here now is to really let go. But if we are really letting go, then somehow the attention is sinking deeper in the subconscious. And when we are sinking deeper in the subconscious, then often a lot of stuff may start to bubble up that we didn't even know that we are carrying them around. And that may be that restlessness that you have been talking about. But then if you have the clarity and see, okay, now somehow I'm creating that restlessness. Somehow I'm getting bored because I think something more should happen. It's very nice being a peaceful environment, but something more should happen. So then when you see that, then just don't hook into it. If we see such thoughts, such feelings come, observe them and let them go. They come and go. But then the tendency, or if we are not quite conscious of it, then we hook into it and we think it again and feel it again and think it again and feel it again, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and at the end, in the most peaceful place, we may be full of tension and restlessness and have to go and have something happen in your life.
I can feel that the understanding of being in harmony with my surrounding or with everything, it doesn't mean that I should be happy in that time. The feeling of joyful or whatever doesn't mean that I'm in harmony. Sometimes even it's creating the separation between me and the others.
You can, of course, experience some joy in that, but it's very limited. And then we are holding on to the circumstance, the content of our experience, and think my joy comes out of that interaction with others. My joy comes out of the communication. But if you are not doing that, and you feel at the same time the connection, and still on this relative level, we may communicate, we may interact, we may do so many things, then you become aware that actually the joyousness you are experiencing is not by holding on to the feeling of separateness, but in contrary, if it's coming out of yourself, and the more you feel that connection, the more that joyousness bubbles up. But still, you can interact on this level. There is, on the relative level, there is one body is there and one body is there, and they are not tied together. There seems to be a separateness, but you can appreciate the multiplicity, at the same time feel that oneness, that connection with everything. It's not that we have to create the separateness in order to experience that joy. It's simply out of the old habit that I need to see my friends, and there I'm happy, and with my friends we can interact and have a fun time and laugh a lot and have a lot of joy. But if you are with your friends and you do all that joking and having a good time, but at the same time you don't feel separate, your joy will go even much farther. It's not dependent on keeping that sense of separation.
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. So somebody,
Werner?
yes.
Hello.
There you are. Hello, Rebecca.
Hariom.
Hariom.
Yeah, I would like to continue with the same thread because you mentioned it a bit before, because sometimes I can feel that that sensation of bliss and gratitude inside me and peace.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, it's not always remaining, no? And
Yeah.
I know that I have a very active mind, so I know it's something of the things I have to be very mindful, no? Because my mind is very tricky, so it can goes out very easily.
you think your mind? There are 7 billion other minds, also very tricky.
So the point is, at the same time that I can feel sometimes that state, I'm also scared not to lose that kind of that level of peace and bliss that I have in me now, no? So and I know that at the same time it can, that's being scared could be an obstacle also to go further, no? So would you like to talk a bit more about that, please?
Right. It's again the old habit of the mind that comes in and thinks, oh, now I have it and I have to hold on to. But actually, you got to that moment of peace, of bliss, not because you were holding on to, because you were letting go. But then the old trickster of a mind comes in and said, okay, that's it, I have to hold it somehow. Otherwise I'm losing it. And that very wanting to hold it is the reason to most quickly lose it. It's not something that you achieved somehow by doing something, but something you became aware is there when you let go. And so then becoming tense and wanting to hold on to it is exactly a good means to lose it, to not more be aware, that maybe you can keep relative peacefulness with a certain tension, but it's getting drier and drier and joyless, more and more joyless, because there is that tension there, and it's becoming something that we are constructing with force, with will. So when that feeling comes, okay, now it's good, but don't lose it. Then just watch that feeling, watch that thought, and don't believe it. Just relax as good as you can in it, and then when it goes away, then accept, okay, it was not time to really stay in that, but thank you very much for that moment of grace. And be encouraged to just continue and open up, not think how did I bring about it? What did I do exactly before it happened? And then try to do the same sequence, and then hoping that you can construct it again like this, because it's not constructed. So maybe it happens when you are practicing after some time, then it just happens. But maybe it happens just out of the blue, anywhere where you are. For practitioners, this starts to happen. Involuntarily. Sometimes we practice, we try, not much is happening, and then you don't practice and walk down the road in the midst of a crowd, and suddenly it hits you. You feel at ease, at peace, and in harmony and joyous. But our trying, our practicing is still putting the intent. It is helping to put the attention in the right direction. It's inviting that it can happen. And then it may start to happen during practice, but it may also start to happen when you didn't even think of it, when you didn't even try. But then when it's there, immediately when the thought comes, so how can I hold on to it, that I don't lose it, then just don't take that thought serious. It's not in your hands to decide, now I can do something to never lose that again. In reality, you never lose it. It's always there. It's your nature. So we have never really lost it. But then the habit of the mind will come back and we will overshadow it. But as you already understood, the fear of losing it in itself is a good means to push it away.
Yeah.
And if you see that fear, then okay, see, uh-oh, I see you, I know you, I don't believe you. So just don't take it serious.
Okay.
And when it's gone, don't feel bad, oh, I did something wrong, I lost it again, but rather keep that feeling, it was wonderful, thank you, that moment of grace where it was just naturally easy, where you were naturally at ease, at peace, and joyous, that is inspiring to continue, to open towards that. Instead of thinking, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? Why has it gone away?
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of the things I have, that I used to be very strict with myself, and it's also one of the habits I have now. So sometimes I can watch myself in that, oh, you had done it and you shouldn't do that, no? So I know that I have to continue to work on that. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
a certain strictness of learning not to do things of which we know that they are creating invariably a lot of trouble, that is nothing wrong with it. But you can learn to be a bit playful about it, instead of a heavy duty that you have to perform.
Okay.
And
Okay.
when sometimes it's not working and you just it gets you, you slip in it, then when you become aware of it, instead of berating you and scolding you, then okay, got me again, so what? But now I'm here and I can let go of it again.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
If we can develop that playfulness, an aspect of playfulness in that whole process, then it becomes much easier and also much more fun. Wherever you are, instead of thinking sometime, somewhere I'm going to be happy, then you can already be happy, relatively happy on the way.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Werner.
You're welcome. Hariom.
Hariom.
If anybody would like to come, you're welcome. Please come in.
Hi, I'm Ricky from Israel.
Hello. Yes. Hello. Who are you? Have I seen you before?
I was with Leela in India.
Oh, yes. I
And
couldn't
then
read. I couldn't read your name because it's written in Hebrew.
okay. We've come here, and from the time that I came back from India, I
Yeah.
became a groupie of you. So every Saturday I am in India with you.
I see. Very nice.
I have a very difficult question, and is there any way to use your wonderful vision about that we are grateful and happy that we are a living creature, and to use it as a platform to help to a person who is mania depression, who is sick in mania depression? Is there any way to use it?
You can use it for yourself. And the more you use it, the more you are that rooted in that. The more when you are with people, they are benefiting from you experiencing that. But it's not easy to tell a person who is depressive, okay, you just have to do like this and like that, because they are usually not ready to listen to that. They are usually not ready.
The other way, the mania situation. When they are in a mania, when they have the mania, when they are high high, too much happy.
Yeah, too much happy. Then also when you come and tell them, try to be a little bit observative instead of completely overwhelmed, they don't want to hear that because they want to be happy. They want to jump. They want to go over the board. And then after that, boom. You know, all that stuff that I'm talking about is not something that you can push on people if they don't come to you and are open for it and ask for it. It's not like a method that with which I can treat somebody who is not willing to cooperate. If that willingness is there, if somebody who is bipolar, I think it's called now, that up and down.
Yes.
That if they start to have some faith in you, see that you have something, and they start to long for that, and they come and ask you, then you can help them. And you can tell the things that I am telling. And then gradually, if that openness is there, it will help them. That the peaks are maybe less exciting and the downs are less devastating. But that readiness has to come from the person. You cannot produce that from outside.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
But you help by living it yourself. The more you are living it yourself, the more you are influencing them, and then maybe that readiness comes and they start to wonder, why can you be so evenly happy instead of boom, boom, boom.
You are correct. This is true. Yes.
Right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else?
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Klaus.
And I like this topic. It's I think it reflects something in me.
Yeah.
And also that search for meaning and purpose. You know, because we are going in this society where you're expected to do something, to be something, and to build up something, and you get reminded every day about that from the culture, and then that feeling of that great feeling of have to create something and to be something. I think it really contradicts the two dimensions of spirituality and the material world. So I think I'm facing that fight right now.
It's only a contradiction if we totally identify with it. If you keep that awareness, okay, somehow or other, I have to spend my time. So, something or other I have to do with my time. Something or other I have to do with myself, with my life. And then you do the things, at least to some extent, that are expected of you, but you do it playfully. You don't take that damn story so serious. And then it doesn't become a contradiction to your spiritual search, to your going deeper spiritually. Leo came disturbing. And it's not one or the other. And if there are expectations, you can check them. Does it fit with what I'm ready to do? And if it fits, then do it, but not because they are expecting it. But then you do it, okay. This is one way my inner beauty and creativity is expressing itself. It's manifesting itself. And then if you are not doing that because they expect me to do, then you are also not so obsessed with, I have to be successful in every damn little thing that I'm doing all the time. But you can do it more playfully, more joyously, and then often it comes out much more beautiful than when we are all tense and want to make it good. But sometimes it's not working, and then so what? And if some people are not happy about it, then that's their problem.
Yeah, I think that there is probably some early conditioning with achieving, so it gets so easy to get to measure yourself in social situations, and the thought about having an interesting life, or having a life where something is happening, and so it's like it's just not happening very much at the moment, and I think it brings up this feeling about the purpose and the meaning of things, about why.
Are you wasting the good years of your life now? Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing to write home about.
No.
Yes, don't you worry about that. You are not wasting time, especially not if you are conscious. That's the best way to spend your time, to be consciously conscious. And then sometimes your life may be full of things happening, and people will think, oh, he's doing so great things and he's doing a great job. And then sometimes not much will happening, and people think, what the hell is he doing? He's just wasting his time away, his young years, when he could do so much better things with himself and his life. Let them think whatever they like. You have to be at peace with yourself. And of course, out of the conditioning that we have been drilled in our head since childhood, then we will often question when not much is happening and think, oh, am I wasting the time? But you need not artificially, forcefully start to do things simply that things are being done. When you go out of your life, what you have achieved on this relative level, it doesn't matter a damn thing anymore. In one moment, it's all gone. All the praise that you have earned for your achievements, all the money that you have accumulated, all the possessions, the house and the swimming pool and the car and everything, all is gone in one moment. But that inner wealth, that becoming more self-aware, If you train yourself, every little drop of that is with you and you take it along. It's there as a capital with you when you live this life. So in the long run, you are much better instructed to give your attention there. And the other one, you can, I mean, as I said, somehow or other we have to spend our lives. The other one you can at the same time playfully do, but not take it so serious. And of course, people take it serious and they look at you in that light from where they are experiencing, from where they are coming from, from where they are in their own way also just indoctrinated from their childhood, and then they project all that on you through their eyes, through their value system, what you should and should not do, and what is reasonable, what is worthy in your life and what not. But it's most of the time it has absolutely nothing to do with you, with what you and your real being and what is really happening, but just with all that mental stuff that we have artificially learned while growing up and then take it as important and as reality. So if people are not happy the way you are spending your life, then it's really their problem. And if they give you hints and you feel a resonance and you think, oh, the guy is right, I could do this, then of course, then that was a good message to give you a hint, but not simply because the guy says something and expects you to do so and you feel in your heart, that's not what I have to do, but maybe I could do in order to please them. Then you better follow your heart and not your mind thinking that I have to earn the goodwill of those people by doing this and by doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good reminders to also not to take the life too serious. And I had some similar experience as one of the previous talkers here had about just falling into this peace. I was going out in nature and then sitting in my car driving back, and it just felt like everything was as one, you know. And so
Yes.
I was just floating by, and it was this joy, but there was no sense of time or purpose, but it was just easily going by. So I was there maybe for 36 hours or something like that, and
Yeah.
and something came back and triggered the old wolf.
Right. but you can draw inspiration from an experience like this. Not think what can I do to bring it back, but just you got a good taste how simple and easy it can be. And then when the arguments come in your mind, but I should build something, build up something, leave a mark in this world that can be seen after that when I'm not more here. Then you can remind yourself, hey, look, when you remember that experience, how simple and easy it was simply to feel complete. And at ease, at peace, and not torture your mind. What is wrong with me? What am I doing with my life? Then it's helping very much that you remember, oh, look, after all, I have already had tastes of that, how we can live without torturing ourselves unnecessarily. And then sometimes your life may be very active and you may do a lot of things and people may praise you. And sometimes your life may be not very active and people will think that you're a lazy bum and they will not praise you. Let them do so. You are as you are and not what people think about you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I had to learn that. Although I wasn't so much concerned in my life what the crowd thinks of me, but those who are close, still their opinions were mattered very much, and if they felt it's no good what I'm doing, then this was triggering something, and I got restless about it, and I had to learn not to take that serious. We can always be open to get a hint from somebody. Good hints can come from anywhere, can come from a book, can come from a situation we see, can come from somebody who just tells us something, some good pointer, and if you feel a resonance, then that's fine. But it's good to develop that strength not to care basically what people think about you. Because as long as we always care about that, then we always make us a little bit into slaves of that. Then we have to run and struggle and try to keep the image up and to please this one and to please that one, and there's no end to it. And you can never do it that everybody is pleased. Some always will like it, some will not like it. What do you do? So if you get hints from people that that you feel, okay, that was a good one, and then you can pick that up and make it your own and integrate it in your life. But otherwise, learn not to care so much. Develop that strength to go your way without caring whether people like it or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I will take that with me as a good hint.
Right.
Yeah.
The strength comes out of yourself. What really counts comes out of yourself, and not what people push on you, not what people think about you, not what people feel about you.
Mm. Yeah, because it's like this way of living that you build house and everything and these things, but it's it just feels like the more I try to push this, it just doesn't seem to cooperate. I don't know. It just gives me a resistance the whole time. So it just feels like the ego mind has very little to contribute with, because it just seems like whatever it tries to touch is just falls apart. Work. Yeah.
So it seems not on the program, at least in this phase of your life, that you are building a lot.
No.
Visible things. So never mind about it. Maybe there will be a phase that you do so, but maybe never. But when you go out of your life, it doesn't really matter whether you did or not. But whether you were living your life consciously, whether you learned to be at ease, at peace more and more, and relax in that, and get rooted in that, that makes a lot of a difference when you get out of this life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
This is just a magic show, this world. We are jumping into it for some time to gain some experience, and then we have the tendency to get all hypnotized and look at magic as pure reality, and it matters so much, and it's important, and it's important, and important. But actually, it's not that important. It's just giving us the possibility to learn, to grow, to experience, to get richer for the experience, become more self-aware. That is what is counting. All else is detail. That comes, that goes, part of the play.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Who would like to come in? Come in, please.
Hello, Werner.
Hello. Hello, Sandra. Hello. It's you who wrote that little note, huh? Just now.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
because I have been successfully trying to come in 3 or 4 times, so I thought it may not happen.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, because my aunt just passed away, so if
Yes.
there is anything you can suggest I could do to help her in this transition.
Mm-hmm. Were you close to your aunt?
I'm not so close from my family in general, but reasonably close from her.
Right.
Yeah.
And she knew you well, and you had a
Yeah.
yeah.
I stayed a few times at her place, so yes.
Ah, yes. I see. It's not that you have to think that you have a certain duty to perform now towards her, but obviously it's in your mind that she passed away. You feel, okay, she's gone, and there is that desire to contribute something, and you can very well do that. You just, when you think of her, you just open your heart and you send her as good as you can your love. You may remember nice events that have happened when we were the two together, when you felt a very beautiful connection. You remember that, you bring that joyousness of that situation in the present, and you consciously send this joyousness to her. You send your best wishes, and then basically you just let her go. Don't somehow keep her back and think, oh, it's so bad that she's gone, and why didn't I do this before she left? People often had a bad conscience when somebody dies. Oh, I should have done like this. I should have made more contact. Oh, I should have done another thing. And if we are thinking and feeling like that, then we are just sending something negative to that being that is going. The things have happened the way have happened, and if you had not much contact, then you didn't have much contact. So no reason to feel guilty about anything. If there is a particular thing in the mind that was somehow unresolved, sometimes people go and there is something that we had in mind. I want to meet them, I want to resolve that because it's nagging. And if such things are there, then one can also, instead of thinking, oh, I missed it, do it even now and think, okay, there was sometimes some tension and misunderstanding, but so what? Now we can let it go, because in the present situation it doesn't matter anymore at all, and just have only the best and purest and most loving feeling that you can have for her, and send them and let her go. Not in any way try to hold her back and think, oh, it's sad that she's gone, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. Okay, wish you a good journey wherever the divine is bringing you. In some traditions, they do a lot of rites, but we don't have to artificially imitate that. If somebody has learned doing rites for those who have passed away and feels like doing it, we can do it. But if not, it's not that we are somehow should learn something and do that. If that is not already something that is cluttering our mental makeup, then we don't have to add that. But you can just, with childlike purity, with childlike innocence, think of somebody who is gone and send them that pure childlike innocence love and wish them well and let them go.
Thank you very much, Werner. Yeah, it's very helpful. Very helpful. Thank you.
I'm happy. You're welcome. Hario. Hario. Is there anybody else who would like to say something?
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Sridev.
I remember during an introduction you made one day, you were talking about death and you told that it was a process of joy and it was a kind of liberation. Did you experience it through meditation? Could you talk about it a little bit more, please?
If we can expand this into meditation.
No, I mean, what happened after death, and because you were very joyful to talk about it, and apparently it was not something horrible, mostly like a liberation. Could you share a little bit what you experienced? Because when you were talking about it, it was like you know exactly what you were saying.
I'm sure there are many different ways of going that I don't know anything about, but generally, somebody who is in great tension may just keep that up for some more time. But even that will run out, and then after that, that liberation also is there. Because even now, you're not really incarnated. Even now, you, as your pure being, are prior to time and space, are outside of time and space, and never really limited. So, the so-called death is that when somebody is born, when this consciousness comes in this world, it's like that a being who is complete and yet just out of the natural joyousness of existence is eager to experience more. And in that sense, although that completion is there, somehow it's getting still. Consciousness, beingness is getting enriched through the experience. So that being projects certain aspects of itself into this game, into this world. And this projection becomes a person, develops that sense of being separate, a separate person, a separate being, a separate existence, and then going through the whole life, and at the end of the life, somehow, sooner or later, it may take a moment or it may go immediately, but sooner or later, that consciousness is withdrawn again in that being, and there is only joyousness there. It's not, it's not that you are going to be judged and punished and do all that stuff. If one totally believes that, the purgatory, and we have to go through it and suffer hell through it, then if the belief is strong enough, then the mind may create that for some time. Because there is infinite space to create anything, heaven and hell and everything. So then that experience may be there for a moment, but anyone who has learned to be more conscious in the life, even if we are not attaining total, complete self-realization, but if that consciousness is getting deeper and deeper, then these people, when their lifetime is finished, when the body drops off, it's really like dropping a big burden. What a dream, what a story. It's amazing. It's just relief. There's nothing to be afraid of dying. You can be afraid of many things that can happen in your life, but about dying, there's nothing to be afraid of.
Finally, it's only the people still there who suffer, but the person is dying is not suffering anymore.
Sorry, I didn't quite get. What did you say?
I'm sorry because my English is so not so good. What I mean is, finally, it's only people remaining there.
Yes.
Are
right.
suffering, but the people dying are not suffering anymore.
Right. It's yes. the ones who stay back, they feel the loss. They feel, there is a hole there. The person has gone. Oh, it's so sad. I cannot see him anymore. I can not see her anymore. We had so much good time. Oh, and then they are sad. The sadness in itself is not creating suffering. It's naturally that people feel sad. But if we are not resisting, if we are not trying to hold on to something, somebody who is gone, and desperately try to bring back something, but if we are accepting, okay, this is a fact, but sadness is there, then sadness in itself is also not creating suffering. Then sadness in itself can be quite a profound and nice experience, actually. But people suffer because they lament, they resist against the fact that this person is not more here. But the one who is gone is not, because it's like waking up from a nightmare. Oh, what a relief! Then you don't want to go back in the nightmare and tell the other persons there in the dream and say, hey, it's all right, don't worry, I'm fine now. I mean, somebody may have in the mind a strong attachment which keeps him intact for some time, that this has to run out a little bit. Then people may linger for some time in this space where they don't really belong, but these are not the majority of cases. Most of the people, when they die, actually something in them already has enough and wants to go and wants to die. And finally, when the body drops off and they become aware how beautiful they feel without all that burden, then they don't grieve about being dead and not more being connected with their friends and so on. But it's just, oh, time to go.
So after death, there is still a sense of individuality?
There is a sense of identity in your true being, in what you really are, that is not born, that will not die, that is not even incarnated now. There is a sense of identity. And that ball of consciousness, that projection that comes out of your true being, may for some time after you leave this sphere continue its working until somehow it comes back into its source, into that being from where it came. But the I-ness in it actually comes from your true being. That what we are projecting as a person is simply the reflection of that. And it may happen that somebody goes out of this world and holds on to that for some more time. But it need not be, and it's just temporary. I mean, time may feel a bit different there, and on this world a lot of time may go and there not a lot of time. But it will just let go, and the consciousness becomes aware, I'm pure, I'm complete, I never have been separate. that being that has projected this personality still may feel, okay, certain lessons have been learned, certain lessons have not been learned, certain experience would be good to go through and project a new projection into this world, in any other world, in order to continue getting richer through the experience. But it's not out of punishment because I have been doing something not right, that after that I'm being punished, that I have to forcibly be reborn again in order to learn the lessons that I missed the last time. That whole thing about punishment and retribution is something that has been hammered in our mind, in our head so strongly from the traditions that it's difficult to let it go. But divinity is not punishing. This is our human value system that we are projecting of something far vaster beyond our human comprehension, and we are projecting that kind of thing into it, that eye for an eye. That whatever bad thing we have done, then we have to suffer hell for it. We may have to go through certain experience because that knowledge is there. Going through the experience makes us grow fast. It's not out of punishment, it's out of the knowledge that is only for the best. That sometimes we may have to go through difficult situations. It's not because we are punished because we were a bad boy previous and now we are getting it. Or if we get out of this life, then we have to be afraid already what is waiting for us, because this I didn't do well, this I didn't do well, this I didn't do well. When Jesus was on earth and he was upsetting the traditional community all the time with a lot what he did, and one thing that he did again and again and again, which was upsetting the status quo, the traditional status quo, that he told people, your sins are forgiven. They couldn't believe that. How can he dare to say such a thing? After all, will God is keeping book, and for all the bad things that we have done, we will suffer hell for that. That was so deep in the mind, and it's still deep in the mind. That's why people, that's a part of why people are afraid of dying, thinking, oh my God, what is going to happen? What have I done in my life? All the bad things, and what is waiting for me there on the other side? Because we are so full of that indoctrination that we have to be punished for bad behavior. We may have to go through experiences to learn certain things, and some experiences are not so pleasant, but it's not out of punishment, but out of wisdom of that being that is projecting in that situation in order to get the best learning process out of it. There is no divine punishment. Divinity simply doesn't function like that. That's why people, Jesus was totally right, telling to people, your sins are forgiven. Don't keep that old baggage there unnecessarily. Be now open, fresh and new, and do the best with yourself what you can here now. Okay with that?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hariom.
Hariom.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Nelly.
I have a question.
You're welcome.
I have a question. Sorry. Have a question about practice. I'm sorry. From time to time, I have some doubts about my practice.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that this is the right practice that I do. I'm not sure that it fits me, because sitting was always difficult for me. But last years I practice it, sitting meditation and watching my breath. But from time to time, I'm not sure that this is right thing for me, because at first I feel a lot of tension in my low part of the body, in my coccyx, in my first chakra. And when I sit an hour, sometimes it is okay and I feel something good in it. But sometimes I feel that I force myself, and sometimes I feel that maybe I should sit less, maybe not 1 hour, but 40 minutes or 50 minutes. So maybe I need some slow motions. And when I feel much tension, I do slow motions, so from side to side or around with my body.
Yeah.
Yes, and but last time I to dance before this, before sitting, I like spontaneous dancing and singing just spontaneous sounds, and I just allow what comes out of me. Before this, I like to do it in the forest. It happened, yes. And now I began do it more often, and before my sitting meditation too. And I feel a lot of joy doing it. I feel that I feel myself alive. But when I sit after my sitting practice, sometimes I don't feel myself alive. I feel myself very serious, maybe, or not. It doesn't give me joy or fresh, or I don't know, pleasure. So I have these doubts again, what I need to do, because you tell that it doesn't matter what you do, you just should be alert any way you like. And I think about it, what is right for me to do, what is better. And if I like dancing and singing, maybe I should eventually come to the sitting practice, or it is not necessary. I don't know. Or maybe I should combine two practice, or I should just try one thing and then do experiments and see what suits me. What can you tell me about this?
Yes, by all means, if this dancing and singing is really make you feel alive and connected, and continue. But it doesn't mean that you can also sit. But if you feel that the way you are doing it, that somehow you're forcing yourself too much, then you can, as you said, you can very well reduce it. I wouldn't give it up completely. That would sit at least sometime. You can maybe reduce it, to 40 minutes instead of 1 hour, maybe half an hour. see how you feel then about it. If you just somehow, if it's just labor sitting there, and after that you're just full of tensions, then maybe you better sit less and more relaxed.
Okay.
Or then you get up and dance a bit in between, and then you sit down again.
Yes, yes.
Why not?
Okay.
You can maybe, like many Zen Buddhist traditions, who sit a lot, they have sitting periods of maybe only 25 minutes. Others have 35 minutes, others maybe 45 minutes or 50 minutes, but they don't sit for hours at a stretch. Then they get up, walk around, move a bit, do maybe walking meditation, and then they sit again. And you can very well sit for some time, and if you feel too tense, instead of trying to move and or just force yourself to sit further, then it's certainly not your thing that you should become now a full-time meditator. So then you sit for some time, and then you get up, and maybe you dance and sing in between again, and then you sit down again.
Okay. Yes, this suits me, I think.
Yes, try.
Okay. And one more question I want to ask. One moment.
Yeah.
If I feel some pain, how should I watch it, or should I concentrate on this pain, or should I put my attention to another part of my body for not to make it more painful?
When you feel pain while sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's no point in trying to ignore it, but don't get totally hooked into it. You can feel the pain, observe the pain, but feel the whole rest of the body also. That feels better. That your attention is not simply locked in that part where it's paining. And then if it's getting too much, then you simply move a bit. You don't have to torture yourself. It's good to have a little bit of discipline when it starts to pain, that you sit it out a moment for some time, and you feel for yourself how much it is healthy. But if it's getting too much, then you can also stretch out your legs or get up and then sit after that again. But it may also happen that you feel pain and you just watch it, but at the same time you are aware of all the other parts of the body that are not in pain. And after a moment, after some time, the pain that there is there simply disappears without you doing something. So it's worth the trouble to sit it out for some time, but then don't torture yourself. If you feel it's just getting worse and worse and worse, then you better get up. Then you better get up and dance a little.
Yes, and I see that when I do some slow motions, it helps me. I feel some relax.
Right. You don't have to force yourself to sit long time like a statue. If maybe over the time that capacity, that ability will come all by itself, that you can sit for a long time without moving relaxed. But and when the pain comes and the tension comes in the body, you sit it out for some more time. But if it's not reducing after some time, but getting more and more, then it's better that you move.
Okay. Thank you, Werner.
You're welcome.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om. Is there anybody else who would like to come in?
Hello, Werner. It's Kirsten.
Hello, Kirsten.
I have a question. It's connected to what you were talking with Srideva about, and also from other satsangs. So it's just to kind of recap what you were saying. So when the body is dropped, usually, unless the mind has been very holding on to certain beliefs, the mind and the ego will dissolve, and then the I will be free from the ego. Is that correct?
It's that I is also now free of the ego. Simply as we are focusing out of habit in our mind, we are locked in that personality, so we are not aware that there is actually something much deeper than what I'm superficially experiencing. So it's not really that there is such a somebody there who is separate from your being, and your being is never really tainted by that ego thing. That ego thing comes with the role, with the identification with the role, with the sense of me being separate from everybody else, creating that sense of separation, but it's never really a fact. And when the role is played out, when the curtain falls, then somehow it's just that role is finished. And that awareness of yourself is there, has never been really blemished by all that stuff. It's not that then that person is getting liberated, because the person has always been a projection, and then we don't project it, it's not projected, and the awareness is there. That bondage that we have imagined was never real. It was part of the projection, it was part of the game. It's not that somebody gets out of this, of the body, gets out of this life and then gets liberated, but you have never been in bondage at all.
So that's that state is what you call the pure I, or
you
it's
can
just to
call
understand
that,
all the different concepts that people are talking about.
Or what Ramana Maharshi sometimes calls the I.
The I, yeah.
I. It's really what you are. It's you as a divine being have never been in bondage. You are prior to time and space. And all these games within time and space are temporary games that we are playing. But it's not that you are totally incarnated in this game. It's more like you as that divine being has projected an aspect of yourself which plays this role of this person, and then when the game is over, this is naturally withdrawn again, and the awareness is there. There has never really been a bondage from which we have to get liberated. There is the possibility that within the lifespan of when this game is going on, this consciousness gets totally self-aware. And then as a consent from your original being, from the divine being that you are, it's like a new being is formed. And this being remains totally aware already during lifetime, and after the body goes, that new being starts to play games and project into worlds and getting richer for the experience.
Maybe it's better not to try to understand this.
but But I mean, most of the people, the general majority of people, is just that consciousness is withdrawn in the being, in the source where it came from, and there is not even a question of having to be liberated, because the awareness is there. There was never bondage. It was just a dream. Like when you wake up from a dream in the night and you say, oh, it wasn't real, it was just a dream. It's not that you have to be liberated from what happened in that dream there, but it's just a relief. Oh, it was just a dream. If it was a bad dream. Right.
Otherwise, too bad if it was a good dream.
Too bad, it's called it was a dream.
But then I have another, you have been mentioning like the first expression of what cannot be expressed is love, pure love, and consciousness, and energy like Shakti.
Right.
Yeah. Is that what is referred to in the Satchitananda? Or is that
yes,
two different
you can
things?
say so. Yeah, but I mean, different concepts, they are pointers, and different people have different ideas with the same pointers.
Yeah.
But you can say, but you cannot say Satchit Ananda is life force, is love, is consciousness. But this life force, the prana, the Shakti, and love and consciousness, their nature is Satchit Ananda. Right.
Yeah. And from that, it's like this crystallizations into the pure or the I, but the I-Is are kind of crystallized into many I-Is, or it's one I.
It's essentially one, essentially the same. And in that oneness, there is the multiplicity, and it's not something that we can possibly grasp.
I know.
Out of that oneness comes the multiplicity. And that oneness is Satchitananda. And it's prior to that, and more than that. And that oneness is also at the same time many.
Yeah.
But you are a divine being, free, never in bondage. You are one with that oneness, and yet there's something unique to you. But you are not that person that is incarnated. You are that is projecting that person. And at the end of the life, that consciousness, that life, that love that has been projected here is simply recognizing itself again in its own divinity.
Yeah. It's the mystery.
Anyhow, we'll never completely grasp, so don't try too much to understand it. What I'm telling you is what has been revealed to me, and I put something into words that is indicating something that cannot really quite be into words, and you can also see it and experience it in a different way that I have. When I say such things, it's not because I want to explain what really goes on. I'm talking like this. It helps. If I'm talking like this, it helps sometimes people to loosen up their terror of death, or their fear of karmic retribution and all that stuff. But I'm not attempting explaining the mystery of existence.
I know.
Right.
I appreciate. Thank you, Werner.
You're welcome. I think we stop the questions and answers for today. I'm going to turn off the recording.